There was once a small village surrounded by thick forest and silence, a place where everyone knew each other, and where secrets never truly died. In that village lived a boy named Daniel, but no one called him by his name. They called him the cursed child. Daniel had no parents, no family, no one to defend him. When he was just 5 years old, his parents were found dead in their small hut. No signs of robbery, no struggle, just silence and fear. The villagers needed someone to blame, and they chose him, a child, a helpless, innocent boy. From that day on, everything changed. People avoided him. Children ran away when they saw him. Mothers pulled their kids close and whispered, "Stay away from him, he killed his own parents." Daniel did not understand. How could he? He was only a child. But he felt it. The hatred, the rejection, the loneliness. Every single day, he would walk through the village barefoot, hungry and tired, hoping someone would show him kindness. But all he received were cold stares, and sometimes stones. "Go away. You bring bad luck. You don't belong here." Those words became his daily bread. At night, Daniel slept outside under an old tree at the edge of the village. Cold, alone, afraid. He would stare at the sky and whisper, "Mom, Dad, I didn't do it. I miss you." But the sky never answered. Years passed. Daniel grew older, but the pain never left. At age 10, he started working for food, carrying heavy loads, fetching water, cleaning farms, anything, just to survive. But even then, people paid him less, or nothing at all, because to them, he was not human. He was a curse. One day, something happened that changed everything. Daniel was working on a farm when the farmer accused him of stealing food. "I knew it! Thief! Murderer!" the man shouted. Before Daniel could explain, the villagers gathered. Angry, violent, they beat him hard. He fell to the ground, bleeding. And as he lay there, something inside him broke. Not his body, his heart. That night, under the same lonely tree, Daniel made a decision. He would leave, not just the village, but everything behind. "I may be nothing here, but I won't be nothing forever." The next morning, before the sun rose, Daniel walked away. No bag, no food, no money, just pain and a small spark of hope. The journey was not easy. He walked for days, hungry, weak, exhausted, until he finally reached a big city, a place full of noise, lights, and strangers. But this time, no one knew him. No one called him cursed. For the first time in his life, he felt invisible. And somehow, that felt better. Daniel started from the bottom. He became a street boy, sleeping on sidewalks, begging for food. But unlike before, he was determined. He watched people carefully, how they talked, how they worked, how they made money. He learned, slowly, quietly. One day, he met an old man who owned a small shop. The man saw something in Daniel, something different. "Why do you look at people like that?" the man asked. Daniel replied, "Because I want to understand how they survive." The old man smiled. "Come work for me." That small opportunity changed Daniel's life. He worked harder than anyone, cleaning, selling, learning, saving every little money he earned. Years passed again. Daniel grew stronger, smarter, wiser. At age 18, he had saved enough to start something small. He began selling goods on the street. Not perfect, not easy, but he kept going. Every failure taught him something. Every loss made him stronger. He remembered the pain of his past and used it as fuel. "I will never go back to that life," he told himself. Day by day, his small business grew. From a street stand, to a small shop, to multiple shops. People began to notice him. The boy with no background, no family, no support, but unstoppable determination. Years turned into decades. Daniel became a name people respected, a man people admired, a story people told. And one day, he became a billionaire. Yes, the same boy who slept under a tree, the same boy people called a curse, became one of the richest men in the country. But Daniel never forgot. Never. One evening he sat in his mansion, looking at the sunset. And he remembered that village. The pain, the hunger, the accusations. So he made another decision. I'm going back. Not for revenge, but for truth. When Daniel returned to the village, everything was different. The same people who once hated him now stood in shock. Is that Daniel? It can't be. But it was him. Clean, confident, successful. The boy they once rejected, now standing before them, stronger than ever. The villagers gathered, silent, ashamed. Daniel walked slowly through the village, every step filled with memories. He stopped at the old tree, where he once slept. Tears filled his eyes, but he did not cry. He had cried enough. Then he turned to the people and spoke. You hated me when I needed you the most. You called me a killer without knowing the truth. But I survived. Not because of you, but in spite of you. The village leader stepped forward. We are sorry. But Daniel raised his hand. It's not your apology I need. I came for something else. He paused, took a deep breath. I came for the truth about my parents. The villagers looked at each other nervous, afraid, until an old woman stepped forward, shaking, crying. I know what happened. The entire village fell silent. It wasn't you, she said. Your parents were killed by a group of thieves. They came at night. Your father fought them, but he couldn't win. Daniel's heart pounded. So, you knew? The woman nodded. We were afraid. We didn't want trouble. So we stayed quiet. Daniel closed his eyes. Years of pain, years of rejection, all because of fear and lies. But instead of anger, he felt peace. Finally, the truth. He opened his eyes and said softly, I lost everything because you chose silence. Then he turned and walked away. But before leaving the village, Daniel did something no one expected. He built a school, a hospital, and clean water systems, not for revenge, but to ensure no child would ever suffer like he did. As he stood at the edge of the village one last time, he looked back, not with hate, but with strength, because he had proven something powerful. Your past does not define your future, and sometimes the people who doubt you the most are the same people who will one day watch you rise.